remember feeling nervous every school year. Right? You've got your your new school clothes. You're going into a new grade. There's new kids in class. You're getting a new teacher. There's new subjects. And for me, it was always full of possibility, but a lot of fear and anxiety. And maybe not for the reason that you think. For me, it really had to do with being often the only black kid in class. I grew up here in Portland, Oregon, and if you didn't know, Portland is a city that's one of the most white in the whole entire United States of America. It means most of the population identify as white as opposed to black or anything else. And so my classrooms, if there were 30 kids in there, 29 of them would usually be white, and I'd be the only black kid. And there was a moment that happened every year when the teacher would do roll call, and they would say everybody's name, right? So is Adam here? Is Chris here? Is Tommy here? Is Sarah here? And every time the teacher would get to my name, I'd sort of freeze a little bit. Almost always a teacher would mispronounce my name and say it incorrectly, which isn't in itself racist necessarily, but there was always this insecurity or anxiety on my part around whether my name would get made fun of, whether kids would snicker, whether the teacher would laugh because it was a hard name to say, and whether I'd have to go by, instead of Jelani, Jay for the year, just so people could say it. And that's just such a small example, but I think it's a big way that racism can often show up in a really subtle way. Racism is often about the way you feel about a moment as it relates to your race, and that feeling of feeling small or insignificant or powerless or less than. And for me, every year starting school, it meant that I was different, that maybe I was a little weird just because I had a different name. And that often would be associated with me having an African name and being the only kid of color in class.